Mortgage banking specializes in originating and servicing mortgage loans for real estate purchase to individuals and businesses. And of course, Mortgage Bank facilitates home ownership by lending capital, collecting payment over time, and may then sell these loans to the investors in secondary market. Hello dear, it's a pleasure to have you join us on the program Inside the Real Estate. My name is Chris Jacobs, and you're watching this program from our studios here in Housing TV Africa. We'll take a break. When we return, you get to meet my guest. You join us again. From the capital city of Nigeria, Housing TV Africa has carved a niche for branding the name as the pioneer TV station, showcasing the beauty of architecture and design, thereby promoting the housing sector. With the state-of-the-art facilities to having professional and credible staff, together creating the component of digital broadcasting. Housing TV Africa, your housing dreams come true. All right, glad to know you're there. If you have just joined us, you're watching Inside Real Estate on Housing TV Africa. And of course, I've been joined by Dr. Adedeji Ajadi. He is the Executive Secretary and CEO, Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria. And he joins me now to further the conversation. Nice to have you on the program today.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, having set the premise for this conversation, I'd like you to tell me, what is Mortgage Banking Association, first of all about Mortgage Banking Association in Nigeria, and what is the association doing to improve mortgage development?
Thank you very much for that question. The Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria is the umbrella association of all mortgage banks, all licensed mortgage banks by the CBN. Right. So that means we have an association of all members where we drive the growth and development of the sector, working with our members, working with other collaborators to ensure that the mortgage penetration situation in Nigeria deepens and that we expand home ownership through the creation of mortgages for Nigerians.
Interesting. So could you still further tell me what certifies a man or someone becoming a member of this association?
Yeah, for now we have our mortgage banks as members.
Okay.
We are working on individual membership that will be coming on stream very soon. But for a mortgage bank to join, to be part of us, they must be licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to perform the business of mortgage banking in Nigeria.
Interesting. So how has the Mortgage Bank Association of Nigeria over time been able to build trust, between the citizens who wish to own houses, and the mortgage bank itself?
All right. The association is interested in actually supporting ownership for Nigerians in every ramification. One of the things we do is to advocate for affordability. Whatever can be done to ensure that mortgages are affordable to Nigerians. For instance, interest rates are so high, but everything MBAN does is to ensure that we keep that interest rate low. We make it possible for people to have affordable equity contribution, and then so that more and more Nigerians can have access to home ownership. Let me tell you a few things that we have done. For instance, the NMRC that was created for the secondary market for mortgages.
Yes.
MBAN was a major part of ensuring that we have an NMRC. The equity contribution that people can now access from pension funds today, MBAN was one of the major advocates of that in the country, and that all those things are on stream now. Enhancing home ownership for Nigerians.
Interesting. I recall during the regime of former President Shehu Shagari, there is no state in the federation that you go to, you don't see federal low-cost housing, and that has indeed enabled a lot of people, low-income earners, to own their houses. But over time, we've seen the government, federal government, successive government have come and gone, and yet not been able to achieve, this mortgage system where low-income owners can own their houses. But with the infusion and inclusion of private sector, estate developers. Will you say it's kind of easy for this to achieve, and what Mortgage Bank and Association is doing?
Yes, yeah, things are getting better. That's what I can say. There are challenges, a whole lot of challenges in the industry, hindering the rate of growth. For instance, I've talked about interest rates.
That's right.
I've talked about even having enough housing stock that people can buy from. So the supply side, there are challenges there. The demand side, there are challenges there. The issue of even from mortgage bank's perspective, how do we foreclose on properties when people refuse to pay? It's difficult to recover your money back as a mortgage bank. It takes 4 years, 5 years because of our legal system. All of these are bottlenecks and challenges hindering home ownership, and government is getting more and more interested. Prior to now, maybe we didn't have enough, but we are doing a lot more because housing stock cannot be enhanced and mortgages cannot be expanded to the level we want it without government intervention. But government is intervening now. We now have MOFI, having the MRAVE, we have the family owned funds. So we need more and more of government support to ensure that we achieve our objectives.
Interesting. Aside this, what are the common challenges that the mortgage banking is facing in Nigeria currently? Because you talked about the level of those who can afford the houses is minimal, and I also understand that some of these houses are very costly because building materials in recent times has skyrocketed. So what are problems? Is it bureaucracy, bottlenecks, challenges that the banking mortgage is facing?
Yeah, there are structural problems, there are legal problems, there are regulatory problems, operational environment problem. But let me mention a few of them. Land titling, for instance. A lot of lands available don't have proper title. Now, without proper title, a mortgage bank will not give you money, or any other bank for that purpose, because there must be collateral security.
That's correct.
In case of default. So government, we need to improve on that process of land titling so that most of our lands can have title and that are registered and documented, that people can have access to even verify what title is available. That's a major problem. Secondly, lack of long-term funding for the mortgage sector. Mortgage sector is one of those sectors where you really need long-term funding, fund that can be there for the next 15, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
We have had a challenge with that over the years, and when you don't have enough long-term funding, the cost of fund will likely be high. And that's why we have had issue of affordability with most Nigerians. But like I said, government is doing a lot more on that, but that is an area we need to look into and do a lot more to ensure that
and do a lot more. You will agree with me that a greater majority of civil servants in Nigeria, even at retirement, do not have homes of their own. So what should the mortgage bank be doing in this regard? For instance, now installment deduction from their basic salaries, as what was applied to a lot of people who own their houses, either on as occupier basis. Does the mortgage banking system aid in this regard?
Yeah, okay. Generally, let me talk about it generally.
Yes.
To help. One, we need to enhance affordability. More Nigerians need to be able to afford, but with their little fund amount, they need to still be able to have some form of housing. So we need to be more creative and innovative about ensuring that we have houses that are not too expensive, that people can buy. Can't we sit together, find a way of designing houses with low cost materials, but that will also be durable and affordable for more Nigerians? That's one thing we need to do. Secondly, like I said, creativity in terms of the product. We have various products like rent to own. So people can start out as a tenant, on rental basis, paying on a rental basis, and as they earn more money, they can scale up and start, paying in terms of mortgages on those properties. So we need to create a whole lot of products to ensure that we enhance.
I like your submissions here when you say making it affordable, durable, and of course using homegrown materials. But does the mortgage bank in doing this also consider the climatic conditions in terms of changes we see as a result of global warming, because not quite long the world commemorated World Habitat Day, and these are some of the things that was considered. The Greenland, it's been gradually fading away. So does mortgage banking also consider all these in terms of funding for housing?
Definitely. But we need to do a lot more. Sustainability is a big issue.
It's a big issue
all across the world now, and Nigeria cannot be left behind. So we need to think more about sustainability, ESG, environment, society, and government. All of that are critical to housing, the housing sector, as well as the mortgage sector. We are doing that, but honestly, we need to do a bit more on that.
All right. So the common man, does he have a hope? If I say the common man, those below the ladder, does he have a hope to own a house? Is there a way forward?
I can tell you that there is hope. I tell people, just 2-3 years ago, the product we have today, we didn't have. We didn't have MREF. We didn't have family-owned funds 5 years ago. Now we have that. So there is a new layer of Nigerians that can now afford, mortgages to buy their houses. Now we need to expand that access to that, and then also bring it further down, create other opportunities for people even at the lower level. So as we deepen and grow this sector, we can continue to do that, scale down to ensure that more Nigerians are accommodated and included in home ownership.
Interesting. What do you make of Mortgage Protection Bureau? In terms of, earlier you talked about mortgage banking. One of the difficulties or the challenges there is that land title is an issue. But talk to me about Mortgage Protection Bureau. Okay,
regarding mortgage protection and Mortgage Protection Bureau, it's about ensuring that even when something goes wrong, an individual borrower, his interest is protected in housing. Now, these are all structures that we need to grow and develop as we go along. It gives comfort, it gives a level of confidence for people who want to invest in housing. So Protection Bureau, mortgage guarantees, all of these are structures that we need to over time develop. And as we institutionalize them, it will ensure that we achieve our objective better.
Interesting. Earlier you talked about the interest rate, but I would also want to know the difference between the mortgage interest rate and APR.
It's about the way it is calculated.
Okay.
So when we say interest rate generally, we may just be talking about the broad. When we talk about APR, annual percentage, there's a way we compute these things to ensure exactly what is the cost, rather than just give the general rate. So there are different ways of expressing what the interest rate payable, is.
Does it depend on the particular house and your income? Does it depend? Does the interest rate depend on your monthly income or annual income?
Now, the major driver of interest rate, whether APR or any other, is the interest rate in the economy as a whole, the macro economy, the MPR in Nigeria. So if the MPR comes down, all interest rates will follow suit and come down. When MPR is going up, all interest rates will also move in that. So there is a macroeconomic dimension to all the challenges. So if the economy becomes more stable, the risk level goes down, reduces, and then NPR can reduce, as we have started seeing now. If that continues over time, then generally the cost of fund will reduce and the interest rate payable on mortgages will be reduced.
Interesting. Somebody watching us now might be asking himself or herself, how can I tell that I can, as a matter of fact, will figure out that I can afford to buy a home, and take out mortgage?
Okay, based on the products we have today, we can have a fair estimate. So for anybody to be able to afford a mortgage based on, because you need to be able to make repayment from your income. That is it. So if you make repayment and there's a maximum, you shouldn't pay more than 1/3, using more than 1/3 of your salary for repayment. That's the standard all over the world. So in my head, you think about, okay, how much can someone repay? So if somebody is repaying 100,000 per month, how much will that be? And if you can repay 100,000, that means you are earning 300,000.
That's it.
So how much will 100,000 in a year give you that's 1.2 million. How many years do you need to pay that? So if we do that rough calculation, you will estimate that someone needs to be earning somewhere like 500,000 naira in a month to be able to afford mortgages within the context of the products that we have today. Yeah. But maybe over time, as we expand that access, as interest rate reduces, then we can also take people from the lower cadre.
And that takes me back to the question I asked you earlier, which perhaps makes me skeptical now that we're in Nigeria. You know how the economy is writing. Minimum wage to some state even up till now they're unable to pay minimum wage. Some civil servant salaries are up to 100,000 monthly. IAS at most you say 70,000. And I look at it now, pretty difficult for those below the ladder to start thinking of mortgage in order for them to own a house even before after retirement.
Okay.
Is there a way this can improve upon, or should the government say, okay, minimum wage need to be raised to above 100,000?
Okay, I think I will bring a new dimension. There is a place for social housing.
Social housing.
Yeah, because it's not everybody. Ultimately, no matter what you do, not everybody will be able to afford housing. So government needs to step up to find a way of producing social housing. And I know we all know the constraint that government itself faces. Yeah. There is limitation of resources to meet all the needs of everybody. But like it is done in other developed parts of the world, there are certain categories of people, they don't need to have houses on their own, but a place is provided for them.
That's right.
By the government to be able to have them. So social housing is another dimension we need to think about and improve. But I know for now government may be constrained, but I'm happy that the economy is improving from what statistic we have. The GDP is growing, interest rate is coming down. When we do that sustainably over time, then government will have more resources to be able to also support people through social housing.
All right, interesting. Now talk to me about what's the difference between a fixed rate and an interest rate in mortgage?
Okay, a fixed rate mortgage allows you, the way you calculate it, you pay exactly the same amount of installment over that
so it's different from adjustable rate.
Adjustable rate is different. That one changes over time. So you may, if you are not, for instance, if your income level is at 500,000 naira per month when you start, you may be paying a particular interest rate, maybe a lower interest rate that is connected to your affordability at that particular but over time, because mortgages are long term, maybe after the next 2 or 3 years your income level has moved to 800,000, then they can adjust that interest rate to accommodate your higher earning level. So that way, that flexibility allows you to keep on affording at your different level until you are able to finish paying the mortgages.
Well, what you have said, I still believe there is hope for the common man in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
But the government, how has the government, supported mortgage over time?
To be honest, the government has been supportive in the especially in the last couple of years.
Because you cannot talk about mortgage without talking about the Federal Ministry of Housing Development.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, I was telling people when years back when people started work and we wanted to get a house, I mean people there were practically almost like there were no mortgages. But today the story is different. If you are working and you are that cadre, a lot of people can now afford mortgage. So we need to commend government for making some effort that creating the funding to support MOFI. The MRAF is a major one. Family-owned funds is a major one. There are actually a lot of people are accessing that. We need to keep on doing that, ramping that up at a higher scale to keep on doing that for now. So government is doing a lot. That's the point I wanted to make. But because of this sheer scale of the challenges and the number of people who want to meet, it might not appear that you can see the impact immediately. But I believe that over time we'll start seeing that impact.
And financial constraint has also been an issue.
Government has constraints.
All right. So what are the other areas that Nigerians should look out for? Because I'm beginning to see a positive outcome from your submissions. So what are other areas that Nigerians should be looking out for? Considering the current situation, the economy, and the good plans that the government is having for the people?
I also think that individuals also need to have a bit of understanding of their own financial situation. So I think financial planning is also an important thing, because your capability to afford things like housing, also is a function of your own discipline and planning. So an individual needs to start saving at their own level. Over time, that enhances your what you have, and you can invest and things like that. So I believe there's a dimension of financial planning for every individual that can enhance what our capability to achieve that, beyond all that government is doing.
Beyond all that government is doing.
And then there are also other options. Cooperatives. For many years, because people have built their houses through cooperative savings. They have cooperatives that are saving money, not even through the formal government system. So a whole lot of things can be done. So we need to also, we can't put all the responsibility on the government. Individuals need to do their own part.
But apart from installments, you know, by the individual who wants to own a house, talk to me about the loan sector, as in the mortgage banking and its loan policies. Can one secure a loan hugely from mortgage bank and say, okay, I need this house is going to cost me 10 million. Can mortgage bank give me 10 million and then give me a timeline where I can pay this 10 million?
Yeah, that's exactly what mortgage banks do. But the financing is for a mortgage, a house, home ownership. So there's an existing home. You want to buy into that home. Mortgage bank will give you money.
Will give you money, loan.
Money to buy it.
And then they give you a timeline when you pay the money.
Of course, you pay over.
Is it with interest when you're paying back?
When
with interest?
You pay with interest.
Okay.
That's because you are holding the money for that period of time. You pay with interest. Years back, we used to have in fact, technically, they shouldn't be called mortgages, but mortgages of 5 years, 10 years. But today, we have 15 years, 20 years, which is proper mortgage, because you pay over a longer period of time.
Interesting. Well, there's no better way to end the conversation than now. I want to thank you most sincerely, Dr. Adedeji Ajadi, Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Well, that's the show for today, viewers. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being with us from start to finish. Join us again same time, same station, as we come with a fresh edition of the program. Until then, stay safe. My name is Chris Jacobs. God bless Nigeria.